Good morning. This is my second podcast today, and I realize I usually don't podcast quite this much, but something else has come to my attention, which is really a big stinky. So, in astrology, if you study it with any depth, you'll find that much of the contributions of astrology come from Persia or Persian culture, and not Arab. Arab is a language. Persian is a people that reside in a certain location. And we seem to, like for instance, Avicenna was a contributor through medical and astrology to our understanding of the temperaments, and to add to Hippocrates the depth that today medicine is still practiced with. So our history is rich, and in fact, astrology, many of the words start with Al, which again is the Arab language, but Persian in nature. So I want to bring this forward because back when I was many years younger, I'd had a professor who had offered a course in English literature about the historical writings, such as the Bible being a book that was written after the Quran. Now, I say this, and I know this is going to outrage the Christians because, wow, they're the authority on the religious story, right? Well, go do your history. The Bible was a book written for the sake of a king wanting to get control of his commoners in his community. So the Bible chose its books very, very carefully, but not from the places you would have thought. It was largely rewritten out of the Quran without ever providing the proper credits to the book itself, which was also a later book written after the period of whatever. So do keep in mind that what we know historically is that a lot of our information about medical and astrology is Persian. It comes from the people of the Persian culture, given to us through Arabic language. So I'm enunciating because I want you to understand we can't continue this ignorance. We can't continue to disregard the people, the Persian people, as we do. I find myself appalled right now that top astrologers are doing this. Now, there's been information going back and forth. My partner, who I work with daily through medical astrology, we study, we take our classes together. We talk about everything there is to talk about under the sun that I can think of, that she can think of. And we work hard on this. And she had pointed out to a major astrologer who teaches, who is very prominent in the astrology community, prominent, claiming to be a medical astrologer, which I very much contend is not a medical astrologer. She has a lot of hat tricks she can pull out as a medical astrologer, but she's not a medical astrologer. She doesn't really, in all fairness, qualify because she's not even applying it correctly. She's not using the classical methods and therefore misses many details. And yes, I don't care how many times you've done something and it worked right. There's that one time when you do it and it doesn't work right that it's really bad for the patient. So, please do keep that in mind. And I am very sad that our community has so many imposters in it, and it doesn't help us as medical astrologers get a foothold and say, yes, we do this work and we're qualified and we're honest and all of that. That is hurting us. That's why astrology is this debunked science. And it's not really debunked. I mean, this particular astrology that I practice, Regis Montanus, medical astrology, is something that's been practiced by the Pope for all these years. So do consider, if it's good enough that the Pope never lost contact with it, then it's good enough for us, the people. They want us to not see it. They want us to not believe it because they don't want us to do anything for ourselves. They want us to continue to function in ignorance. So I am going to ask the cards, Tinker's Dam, about this energy around why is it that medical astrology or astrology in general is given to us in such a way that it isn't even true. Whole sign, it isn't whole sign, it's Regis Montanus, okay? It isn't whole sign that we do. I'm not going to say who the astrologer is because, well, I might get into a little bit of trouble. She might be able to, who knows, sue me because I'm saying something about her, but I'm really appalled. I'm really appalled today. And I mean, it's maybe time to write a good article on something about this. So what do we get? Okay, yeah, she's a sleight of hand. She's a magician. She knows how to manipulate the information and tell us one thing and do another. And, and I know that my co-reader, Maha, has pointed things out to her, and she's just kind of gone into yeah, whatever, I disagree, or I've got so much experience that how could I be wrong? Well, let me tell you something. You can be wrong, and you're hurting astrology by doing what you do. If you're not going to teach us correctly, don't teach us at all. In fact, I'm appalled. I wouldn't take a course from her, not for anything right now. I'm appalled. I understand why I'm appalled, because we need, if we're going to be taught, we need teachers that are accurate and teaching us what's really true, not some messed up version of truth. So again, I find this issue of giving credit where credit is due and then understanding where credit is not due to call it out and say it's not due. Okay, so she gets the magician. She is somebody who's here doing a sleight of hand, pulling a rabbit out of a hat, giving us a dark truth that isn't really fair, especially as an educator. If she's going to charge and provide classes, she needs to be honest and say what's really true. The history of astrology and medical astrology in particular is largely Persian. Their contribution to this is so worthy that we must stop, catch our breath, and understand this ignoring, this dislike of the Persian people, of the Persian culture for the sake of ourselves is gross. Okay, we got to quit stealing from them. We've got to quit stealing their intellectual property, and that's what we've done. Of course, we don't want to be responsible. Of course not. That would be accountability. Okay, and what do you get? You get the Moloch. Notice the cornucopia, the richness of the information coming up out of the ground in the building, and how someone else looks to take credit for that information. And this is a card number 16, where there is something new coming forward in the way of how we provide and take care of each other as family. Because really, people, we are all one people. We're not separated. We might be separated by culture. We might be separated by skin color. We might be separated by some thoughts. But when it gets right down to it, I still have red and white cells running through my blood. It's still a machine that I'm operating within. And so my car, my Ferrari, if you will, is white. And my dear friend's Ferrari is a lovely olive color. Yes. So what? That doesn't mean that she doesn't have something beautiful to contribute. Lots of information, lots of wisdom to share. So do keep in mind, astrology is largely given to us through Persian history and culture, not Arab. That is a language, not a people. So let's just keep that in mind. Anything you see AL, like Al-Mutan, that is Persian. That is Arab language, but it is a Persian contribution. I'm just making the distinction because it's true. And we've got to quit living a lie. And the last card it's about equanimity. We got 3 major arcana cards, and that is really interesting to me today. That this is the Tinker's Dam, and it's about us having the ability to free what has been held in suspension or in a way behind the curtain. That we have an obligation to speak the truth. We have an obligation to give credit where credit is due. Thank you to the many Persian people who've contributed heavily to my astrology knowledge. I'm very grateful. And with that, please do hit like, share, and subscribe, and join myself and my lovely co-reader on Maha's Treasure Box, Twiggy by Design, twiggy.com. Come and join us. And thank you so much for joining me here today.